Welcome to the world of Iceborne. There are truly dangerous challenges to be found here, but just how brutal are they? From the howling winds, the blistering cold, and of course the fearsome creatures, you have to be prepared at all times to combat what nature may throw at you. Whoa! What was, oh, okay, it's fine. Hello, my fellow hunters. Today we tackle a topic delicate, but one that I think is definitely interesting to discuss. Just how old is the commander?
Excuse me?
Oh, wait, no, that's for next time. For now, though, with all of the Iceborne hype in full swing, with the next beta upon us, is the game too easy? Now, this is something that was leveled at World in general by many veterans who consider the game to be a much softer touch than the titles before. And I think it's hard to argue that that isn't true. I think World is the easiest Monster Hunter game, but I don't think that's because the monsters are easier. I think the gameplay for the first time is just so silky smooth that you can do what you want when you want. In the old games, even the most recent old game, Generations Ultimate, a lot of the time you're still kind of fighting the controls, and it's a bit clunky and precise. Positioning is definitely not the most intuitive. It has a nuance to it, and don't get me wrong, that feel of the old style has its place. It's not inherently bad, it's what gave the game some magic, some identity, its quirkiness that we do love, that we yearn for and miss and go back to from time to time. But in World, everything just flows, and it works, and it's faster paced, and you have a lot more tools for dealing with the monster, even on just a moveset level per weapon. So I think on the whole, World is the easiest Monster Hunter game, but at the same time, the question is then, and I've seen a lot of discussion around this, I've seen a lot of people say that it is, that it isn't, is Iceborne shaping up to make it even easier, even though we're getting Master Rank, or are we finally getting that kind of insane challenge that other endgame Monster Hunters have offered? Well, it's a difficult one to answer. What are your stance on the Clutch Claw and Slinger Burst? Every weapon now being able to fire slinger ammo while drawn? That adds a whole other level of ease of use, a whole other level of utility. Having to Clutch Claw, now you can make the enemy. I tried to say enemy and monster and went with a menemy. You can kill the anemone! Oh shit! They're onto me! But yes, now you can choose to constantly soften up the target, make it take even more damage, and compounded with all the weapons getting a more expanded, more fluid moveset that lets them deal all the more pain in much more creative and useful ways, at least in most cases. Not to mention spam Clutch Claw chasing a monster across zones. Now granted, most monsters move fast enough, even limp fast enough to only let you get one and then they're away, but even so, that's every hunter getting a free extra Clutch Claw attack as a monster leaves, assuming you don't get caught by the roar, which is easy enough not to do, which is a lot of extra damage that adds up over time, especially if you get a flinch or a break or a tail cut with it, then you stop the monster in its tracks, and there you go, you're off again. It just offers so much. Don't get me wrong, it's fun, I love it. I am so on board with the Clutch Claw, having now properly given it a go, but we're getting a lot of power. And the enemies, are they getting that same power? Well, here's the instant question then. Do you think, having played the Iceborne beta, or watching it if that's all you've done, do you think it looks more difficult? Do you think it feels more difficult? Or do you think it feels pretty steady? How, you know, the current World Endgame feels? Is fighting Tigrex in that beta, how does that compare to fighting your Arch-Tempered? Or fighting just your normal Tempered Elder Dragons? Or even just your basic Elder Dragons as you were going through the story? Because I would say, personally, he feels brutal. I think he's definitely just him by himself is, I want to say, Tempered Elder Dragon level. I mean, again, it's hard to remember how I felt initially against them, but Tigrex, I have hunted thousands of them, yet the one in Iceborne is so much more agile, somehow even more aggressive. I don't understand how they made a Tigrex more aggressive. A Tigrex's entire existence is just I've managed to turn that up to 11, and it's starkly more impressive than in the old games. He's a lot more varied. He's not just a charge machine, which is sad for sweet greatsword timings, but I am very much enjoying it. He really slapped me about the place, and that's a positive sign. Now, I'm by no means God's gift to hunting, just God's gift to greatswords. No, but look, I'm alright at the game. I mean, I should be after so many bloody hours, and I expected to walk over Tigrex, and that did not happen. So, I am thinking that monsters, the general aggressiveness speed boost they get for just being master rank, I think that is going to start creeping with us in the power department. I think the endgame of Iceborne is going to be quite monstrous. I think we're not getting stronger. I think we're getting the tools that we need to stay competitive in this brutal new land. But then again, there's already people who are just walking over Tigrex. But then again, there's people who walk over everything in Monster Hunter. That's just how it be. The spectrum on this game is quite large, diverse, and wonderful. How are you finding Tigrex? That's the big question. Because I think Banbaro is laughably easy. I think Beatodus is laughably easy. he did like 3 moves and died. Oh, it would be sad, but it's so funny. But then you contrast that with him being the first monster confirmed that you encounter in Iceborne, and he is miles away from a Jagras. Seriously, he's across the ocean on a whole other island. Hey, but no, you can see already that's setting the tone. It's Banbaro that I think is the enigma here. Is Banbaro going to be immediately after? Is he just the Baroth to the Geratidus? I feel like he might come a little bit later. I feel like they want him to be a little bit more potent, but honestly, he was really chill. He was just fine. He wasn't even slightly problematic, and I kind of question at that. I really do. And obviously he's just going to be a mid-tier monster. He's going to just be probably around Anjanath plus in Iceborne, but then again, Anjanath was many people's first wall. He truly was. Yet I'm not sure that's going to happen with Banbaro. We have all got a lot better. Everyone that started with World, you've played and know what you're doing now. So the real question, I guess, the core of it here, the essence that I want to bring up, because I've heard both sides, are we getting too strong relative to master rank monsters? Are there new moves, are there new tendencies enough to keep the challenge going? Because every 4-man group that I have done has comfortably killed Tigrex. He's been a little bit of a nightmare solo, a little bit of a nightmare duo, but even then still, you know, just fine. Again, harder than I expected, which is pleasant. And in a 4-man group, though, he's just kinda flopped, which I wouldn't have expected. Back in the original World Beta with Nergi, and granted, Nergi's an Elder Dragon, but still, he was absolutely rolling people left and right. He was destroying. Tigrex, I don't think quite as much, but is that just general skill increase that's obviously going to happen after all this time? It's interesting. I'm concerned that hunters have too much utility now. There is so many ways you can completely take advantage of a monster, especially now with both the Clutch Claw and all the various slinger moves, the weapon upgrades, and I don't know. I'm hoping that we do get to see something along the lines of Shrieking Legiana or Velkhana sooner or later, because they're really going to bring the challenge. Shrieking should be on the level of Savage Devil Joe, Furious Rajang. They are, well, the variants, and in theory, it should be one of the most brutal monsters we've faced so far. And the few little clips of it do look like it's going to have that feel. I just want something. I mean, look, it could be just because I've played every game and I miss the days where something felt like a genuine wall. I remember back when I was playing the earlier ones, even from the very first game, which is where I started, there were some monsters that took me so long to kill, and when I finally did it after 45 minutes of the full timer, after running back and sleeping in the bed to get sneaky heals, go in there, getting like 2-3 hits in, taking the 2-3 hits, running back to the bed, doing laps, scrounging for herbs, any sort of sustenance, and just with the skin of my teeth bringing it down. I mean, it was exhilarating. It hooked me on the game, and I just don't think that happens anymore. And I don't know if that's a game problem or a me problem. I don't know if I'm just at the point, like many of you probably are, where we've just played so much that something would have to be obscenely difficult to give you that feeling again. The last time I had it, admittedly, was in World of Extreme Behemoth, but that's because it needed 4 people to coordinate well with non-really Monster Hunter-y mechanics. It was more, yes! A cream of 4 people didn't fail with fucking meteors for long enough to kill it. It's over! Which I'm not sure is inherently the same as a genuine hard attrition hunting experience. So, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of gone back and forth a lot on this, and I guess if I had to commit to one side, I think that Iceborne Master Rank will be appreciably harder than normal Monster Hunter World, but I think it will still fall short of previous games' endgames. Do I think that's a bad thing? No, I don't. I still think it will be unbelievable amounts of fun, as World's Endgame was. I hope we get something a little bit more creative than Arch-Tempered for the true challenges, and I hope that there is a hidden kind of fully final, like, surprise, fatalis, like in the first game, that is something that's going to wall people for a while. But generally speaking, I think if you've only played World, you're in for a pleasant pummeling, and I think if any of us veterans are expecting that kind of beatdown, I think we might be a little bit disappointed. But really, is that unexpected, and is it even a bad thing? You guys will have to let me know your thoughts on this, and hopefully I've made some sense or such. Either way, I've seen a lot of discussions on this, if the game's getting a little bit too easy, already has, or if we're finally going back in the harder direction, and I'd love you guys to pitch in with your thoughts. I always read all the comments, and you all make some wonderful, wonderful arguments, you really do. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, hit the bell, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.